Greetings and welcome to Growth Hacking Secrets. I'm your host, Mohammed Siddique from Atlanta, Georgia, and the co author of New Success Secrets available on Amazon. On this episode, we have a special guest, Paul Glover. Paul is a no BS work performance and resilience coach and speaker. Please join me to give a warm welcome to our guest, Paul Glover. Paul, welcome.
Thank you, Siddique. I appreciate the nice introduction and appreciate the opportunity to speak to you and to your audience.
Let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who were you surrounded with that inspired you to do what you do today?
Well, Siddique, my career was 30 years as a employment and labor lawyer in federal court in Chicago. And when I retired from that, I decided I wanted a new chapter to my life. And as I considered my skill sets, it came to me that I have a unique set of skills that would be appropriate to coaching. So I decided to actually begin to ask opportunities with those that I know, leaders, to do coaching. I started off doing it for free, pro bono. I developed the skill set that I thought was necessary. And that's how I started my second career.
What are the top three reasons why do people fail?
Well, three things that I would recommend that I mentioned to those in my coaching program. First, your blind spots. If you don't know what your blind spots are, you are destined to fail because they will defeat you in the end. The second is hubris. Pride comes before the fall. And if you are prideful, you will fall. And I'll tell you why I know that by personal experience. And the third thing is lack of self-care. I find that most leaders don't know how to take care of themselves. And my response to them is, if you don't take care of yourself appropriately, you can't take care of others.
What is your greatest failure story? What did you learn and how did you recover from it?
Well, my greatest failure story is me. Because of my flaws, I ended up going to prison. And I spent 5.5 years in prison. And I can tell you that even though I don't recommend it, prison is a good place to reflect. And if you are committed to reflection on the basis of getting better, recognizing the self-inflicted injuries that you do, you can. And I did. I spent 3 years deciding that I was going to be a better person and came out of prison actually with a much different attitude. I was that guy that had hubris, believed I was the smartest guy in the room. And you need to get that out of your equation if you actually are going to be someone who can engage and care about others. So I recovered from it by coming out with a different mindset and a commitment to being a different person. And I've done that.
What are your top three success secrets that others can model from?
I believe that everything is not based on talent. Success is not based on talent. You have to have basic talent and intelligence to obviously be successful. But the reality is that you need to be persistent and consistent as you move through life. You cannot allow barriers, external and internal, to defeat you. And the third thing is you need to get over your own self-doubt. I believe that we're our own worst enemies. And if you can do those three things, be persistent and consistent, committed to achieving the goal and overcome yourself. There's a quote, I've never had more trouble with anyone than me, that I like to tell leaders because I think that's absolutely true.
What motivates you within?
I'm curious. I am absolutely a curious guy, and I also care. So when you connect those two things, being curious and caring, I'm absolutely motivated to get up every morning and engage those in my coaching program in conversations that will make them better.
What is your company's motto?
No BS. What you see is what you get. And I bring that to every conversation and to every coaching engagement and to every personal engagement. I don't like BS. I believe it's a waste of time, energy, and talent. So I've eliminated it as much as possible from my own life, and I encourage others to do so.
Who is your ideal client?
My ideal client is someone who is truly committed to improving. And what I find is most people aren't. They love to think they are. But when you're committed, it requires you do the hard work necessary to actually achieve the goal of improvement. And that's where most people falter.
How do you find your ideal client?
Every client I get is a referral client.
How do you engage your ideal client?
We do it based off of a couple of things. We initially have to have that conversation, that no BS conversation, to see if we're a fit. If we're not fit, the coaching process will not work well. If it is a fit, then we start that process by self-reflection, both of us, by being authentic with each other and developing a basis of trust that I think is absolutely imperative if you are going to help someone improve. Because if they don't trust you and are not committed to your process, they will not get better.
What are your well-defined products or services?
I do one thing and one thing only, and that's coach. And I'm not a life coach. I would never recommend anyone select me as a life coach. I am a performance coach. And what I do is I have a process that works well and actually gets the results necessary from a coaching experience. I believe that you've got to see the results. You've got to be able to measure the results if you are a performance coach.
Why someone should buy from you?
Because I will get you that results. I will care about you enough to push you to reach your potential. And I will hold you accountable if you're not committed.
How do you crush your competition?
I'm better. Let me tell you how better I am. My compensation is based on the goals that have been set at the beginning of our coaching engagement being reached. If at the end of our time frame that we've established to reach these mutually acceptable goals, you haven't reached them, you don't pay me. I think that every coach needs to have skin in the game. That shows a level of caring and commitment, but it also shows that you're going to do the tough things. Coaches are really good at doing the easy things. It's when you actually do have to hold your client accountable, but you also have to hold yourself accountable. And the reality of holding yourself accountable is doing the hard things for your client and to your client so they will succeed at getting better.
How do you deliver a 5-star client experience?
I've described most of it, but I also am an action plan guy. So that when we have reached a mutual agreement on what the goals are, we will put in an action plan that requires action steps. We will have a conversation every other week to either celebrate success or discuss failure. And by the way, I'm not afraid of the word failure, and I find that interesting. We try to soft pedal failure anymore. Failure, everybody knows when they failed, and most of the time failure is not because of lack of ability, it's because of lack of commitment. And so when we have that conversation every other week, we talk about commitment, because remember, we're now in this voyage together. My compensation and success is totally connected to the clients. Therefore, I have an interest and I do care, but I will also hold them accountable. So the action plan absolutely moves us through the process of achieving goals, establishing milestones, and at the end, celebrating success.
How do you use sales proposals to close more deals?
You heard exactly what my sales proposal is.
How do you convert your clients into your brand ambassadors?
They are successful. At the end of the day, that's how you have a developer create a brand ambassador, is that the process worked. Is that what you said you were going to do? And by the way, I believe that trust is the basis for all relationships, professional and personal. And let me define trust, because it is a part of the coaching process. The first element of trust is I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. And the second thing is I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. And when I do both of those things, there is an element of trust and commitment that engages the other person so they will reciprocate. And at the end of the day, that reciprocation and that relationship that we've developed through the journey of improvement creates brand ambassadors.
How do you handle rejections?
Hey, I'm a big boy. I've got every scar that I have, I've earned. And if someone does not like me, and there's a lot of people who don't, Siddique, I am an acquired taste. There are a lot of people who don't like my process, a lot of coaches who don't like my process, but I don't care. So I know who I am, and I know that if someone rejects what I want to do and how I want to do it, it's because they don't believe it works for them. And so I'm absolutely okay with that.
How do you handle an angry client?
Most of my clients are angry because one of the things I tell them is you're not as good as you can be. And people don't like to hear that. By the way, the most difficult client is a successful client because they've obviously already done something that's made them successful. The problem is, of course, if you're successful, you believe that you know how to be successful. My question is always, why have you engaged in a improvement process if you don't believe you need to improve? But the reality is when they hear that, it upsets them. We then have to have a discussion about why they're angry. And if it's because I'm requiring them to do the hard work, then we have that conversation. And by the way, it's okay for you to be angry as long as you understand why I'm pushing you the way I'm pushing you. It's in the end result is it's for your own good. And if you don't believe that, then you need to be out of the coaching process.
Paul, we are about to move into lightning round. That means quick question and quick answer. Are you ready?
I believe I am.
What are you grateful for today?
My family.
How do you start your day?
I do it with gratitudes. I'm a Starbucks guy at 5 a.m. in the morning. I'm headed to Starbucks. And during that walk, I recite my gratitudes out loud. The things that I am grateful for. That puts me in a positive state of mind for the entire day.
How young are you?
74 and getting younger every day.
Paul, you are not 74. You are 18 years old with 56 years experience.
I appreciate that.
What you want to do when you grow up?
I'm doing it.
What is your plan to achieve your goal?
Again, Siddique, I am doing it. I have achieved my goal. I guess the one thing that I want to do is continue to do it. And that obviously is up to me. I believe in self-care. I'm going to continue to do what I do because I love it.
How will you feel in case you don't achieve your goal?
I've already got there.
How do you overcome a challenge life throws at you?
I look at challenges as exactly that, but opportunities. And I know that sounds trite, but the reality is, again, I look at those challenges and I go, if it's a external challenge, I may need to make a decision. Can I do anything about it? I can't do anything about the weather, so I don't worry about it. If it's a challenge, okay, but I'm not going to worry about overcoming that challenge. However, I believe that most of our challenges can be overcome because they are internal. So persistent, consistent effort, thoughtful reflection, and moving forward.
What is the advice you will give to younger yourself?
Be careful who you associate with.
Once you have a revenue generating idea, how do you convince your significant other?
My significant other sees the plan and I don't convince her because I trust her to tell me yes or no. And she is my true north. She has to okay a client before I'll take them on because I recognize my flaws. And one of my blind spots is I can make bad decisions about people. And so I don't need to convince her. All I need to do is give her the presentation and she'll tell me.
Who is your living mentor and what's the impact?
Don't have one.
Why being impactful is important to you?
I think that that's my legacy. I'm not building a bridge that anybody can look at and say that was built by Paul Glover. What I'm doing is helping others get better. And so it is impactful for me to be successful in coaching relationships because that is my legacy that I will leave behind, because hopefully the person that I'm coaching is going to be better and impact others in a positive fashion.
What do you want to be remembered for?
I want to be remembered as the guy that was imparting information that was relevant, and also the guy that could make you laugh.
How can we support you?
You know, Siddique, this is supporting me. You've given me the opportunity to answer very insightful questions. I've enjoyed them. I've enjoyed speaking to you, and the opportunity to give my opinion, my philosophy, my approach to life and coaching to your audience is the support that I love.
We are about to wrap up. I'd like to have your few words about your today's guest experience on the show. Here's my question. What would you say about your today's guest experience on the show?
First, again, I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the questions. They were, like I said, they were insightful. They caused me to think. I did some reflection before the show, and I've appreciated the opportunity to speak.
What would you say as a final word?
My final word, I do a point of the day to all my clients. It sends out. Sometimes it makes sense. Sometimes it doesn't. And the one that I would leave with your audience today is, no one can ruin your day except you. Don't let that happen. Be great.
Thank you so much, Paul, for sharing your wisdom with us today on the behalf of Growth Hacking Secrets community and our entire team. Really appreciate you. This is Mohammed Siddique signing off from Atlanta, Georgia. Until the next episode, all good wishes.